Welcome back to the Purge series reviews. This is the second episode review here on, I guess, we'll call it Purge Week. Why not? But I'm joined again with Steven.
Hello.
Yeah, and so we watched The Purge Anarchy, which is the sequel to The Purge.
Best one.
Best one out of the two.
Best one, but we don't know how the Forever Purge is coming out. I think we've already said that, July 2nd, 2021.
Yeah. But yeah, so just a little, I guess, factoids here. So the original Purge, the 2013 one, the first one, it cost $3 million to make, and then it brought in $89.3 million bucks. This one, which came out 2014, so just a year later, cost $9 million to make, so they tripled the budget. And it brought in $111.9 million. So it almost doubled their profit, but they tripled the budget. But I think it showed. I think it actually
I love
showed.
movies like that just have the lowest budget and then just bring in like
Massive.
Because doesn't Napoleon Dynamite have such a low budget?
I think it's like $1 million. I think Napoleon Dynamite's like $1 million.
$1
So like it's very low considering like how successful
and
that
just
movie is.
like how much of it's become a pop culture classic. I almost said Pulp
They showed that
Fiction.
in bio class. They showed Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, but I love movies.
It was actually just $400,000 for the budget.
I love Cinderella stories like that.
You can buy a house for more.
That's why, not here, but that's why I like all the Purge movies. I'm sure we haven't got the statistics on the next two, but the first Purge and Purge election year. But just based off what Khalil just told us about, the first Purge and Purge Anarchy, that they just brought in so much cast. But you can definitely tell there's such a higher quality
This one.
Just to get started with the review, Purge Anarchy has such a higher quality. They have just way better acting, and the storyline overall is better.
Yes, I 100% agree. I think the triple in budget, even though it's $6 million more bucks, but it definitely shows the quality of actors that they actually have. I think these actors are a lot better than the other ones, even though we ranked it kind of. I might have to move my ranking down a bit for that one after seeing this. So maybe we should hold off on ranking.
Yeah, this is by far the best one, because, I mean, like, even just the fact that they moved locations, Yeah. Like, the first Purge is set, with the exception of the opening scene, all in the people's house, the stand-in's house. Whereas, like...
It's also like I feel like there's not to cut you off, obviously, but there's a little switch in the setting and dynamic that plays into this, where the first one was obviously in an affluent neighborhood. It's like wealthy. It's following these wealthy people, where it's like obviously from a place of privilege, with the kids and everything being like,
but they sell the worst security system.
Yeah, exactly. But with this one, you were following like somewhat normal people, or people on like kind of maybe a lower income like on the lower income.
Just normal people in the sense everyday working Americans.
Yeah.
They just
people that don't want to purge.
Yeah, people who don't want to purge.
Except
like you had Shane and Liz, who were the one couple, the happy couple that were like at the beginning of the movie debating getting a divorce. They were, I'd say, middle class, and then you had Carly and
Callie. So you have so right when it opens up, you have this waitress named Eva, who works at this diner, and she has her father, which is he's a bit older. It seemed like he had some sort of disease or something like that. So he was dying, and she was like trying to buy him medicine that was pretty expensive. And then you had Callie, which is her daughter. And so it kind of opens up with her, and you kind of go through, and she eventually gets back to her place. And her daughter's showing us. So there's this new, I guess, faction that has emerged in the society.
The new founding fathers of America.
Yeah, so the NFF.
They don't actually have a real name.
Yeah, they don't really say the name. Follows, I think the leader's Carmelo, right?
Carmelo,
thank you.
Come on, Carmelo.
But yeah, so they essentially follow this guy. And he's kind of saying like the only reason the Purge exists is for money, and the elite want to suppress us in power.
They don't want to he talks about it. One, I think it's brilliant that they talk about in the sense that like the rich people don't want a redistribution of wealth, and that the only thing that it's not even market capitalism that these people value anymore. It's just money. It's not even like there's no freedom to move up because, one night a year they can kill anyone who's, whether they're going to move up economically or just move up social standings. They're just going to kill them. And Carmelo Jones, almost said what you said, Camilla Jones, but Carmelo Jones is just puts that on blast and adds like a whole new voice to the game and kind of a threat to the upper wealthy people who you'll see later on as the movie if you haven't seen it.
Threaten the government.
They pay,
too,
and the government. I mean, these people are.
Oh yeah, guys.
Purge.
This is a spoiler. I should have said that earlier. Make sure you watch this movie, or if you don't care, you can also listen to this. We're gonna be reviewing it.
And leave
so
a like.
Yeah. Thank you,
and
Steve.
Subscribe.
Thanks, bud. But yeah, the like you were saying, they're essentially. I think in this movie they delve into those political elements a bit more that we were talking about with the original one, and the social stratification that the Purge kind of creates. Even though it's kind of interesting because they actually go into the lore a bit of the Purge in this one, where so apparently there's this dude named Donald Talbot.
Whatever.
Yeah. So his party, the New Founding Fathers of America, so the NFFA. Got voted into office 9 years ago.
But they don't say whether he became president, and
they said voted.
If they're a regime, they could have taken over. Some are senators, some are House members, and then they move through the ranks and consolidate power. But
this is so the current year in this one. So the first Purge was 2022. This one's 2023. So the year difference there. So May 21, 2023 is when this takes place. And it said they were voted into office 9 years ago, so that would put it at 2012, right? Or no, 2014. So that means they were voted into office, and actually that doesn't make any sense, does it?
Yeah, dude, I'm not the math guy over here.
That's the midterms. Wait.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They could have just,
maybe.
Ascended to power. I'm sure it'll be revealed in the next. We still have 2 more.
There's one literally called Election Year.
Yeah, so. It's a good movie.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
So it does say that there's been 6 purges so far. So this is what was interesting to me, because you saw Eva's father obviously being like, no, the purge works. It's so he was so adamant about it works. Turn that stuff off about those guys saying cancel the purge and all that.
Yeah,
But this has only been happening for 6 years. I thought in this world it would have been happening for ever, almost
hundreds of years or something.
Some at least maybe a couple decades, because you would have had people growing up on it. Versus this, 6 years isn't that's not enough time to really indoctrinate people into a thing.
Interesting
I guess,
Purge movie is if they had one, like you said, it only started in 2014. I mean, what year did it start?
2014.
Yeah, let's just
the Purge
started
in 2017.
So you know what would be interesting is if they the new founding fathers got the idea from pre-Constitution America, and they kind of did a historical element or some sort of flashback and show that this social theory had been tried.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to get too much into social theory and political theory, but obviously you have Thomas Hobbes and the nature of man is selfish and greed and what was it? The nature of life is short, British.
Or are they selfish because now they have the government, basically an authoritarian regime, telling them, hey, it's okay to kill, but hundreds and hundreds of years of religion doesn't pick even the main big 3 or big 5 religions tell you not to kill.
Well, it's interesting also because it's almost like they've turned this government into a cult, because you have them essentially praying or chanting in these little circles about blessed be the new founding fathers who
just a cult with power.
Give us this purge, basically. Yeah, with actual political power.
I don't even just say. I just say all out power.
I mean, probably, but because this is what's interesting is that I'm gonna skip to the end here real quick. So you have Frank Grillo, who I don't think they say his character's name, so I'm just gonna call him FG.
The OG.
The OG FG, but so they have Frank, I guess, going around and. He essentially saves these people. He's going out to purge to avenge his son's death because this drunk driver hit him off the road and killed him. And got off on a technicality. Yep. So American justice system at its finest. But this man essentially his whole mission is to go and kill this one dude. He doesn't want to kill his family, nothing like that. He just wants to kill this dude and get revenge for his son.
Yeah.
And that's how he meets these people. is that he sees them be like these big trucks with these kind of creepy dudes with machine guns in them, and this massive like paramilitary operation going in and grabbing people.
About that paramilitary operation, which they also reveal at the end of the movie, I thought that was insane that they didn't feel like enough people were being killed during the Purge.
Yeah, that's what I was going to.
And so they just go and round up people casually.
Yeah,
and, take them to this rich people's house where they auction off. It's almost like a most.
No. That was something else. So that was the ice cream truck. The
ice cream truck.
The ice cream truck brought them to the rich people. But so this paramilitary operation, they're essentially saying that not enough citizens are actually participating in the Purge because people, generally don't want to kill people and want to live themselves.
Yeah.
So they're locking themselves in their houses and staying safe. Which actually makes a lot of sense because but anyway, yeah. So this they essentially send the government to go and target certain apartment buildings, which I'm assuming they're targeting them based on maybe lower income levels, or like you were saying, people that might be like a potential joiners of this like anti.
Yeah, that's what I noticed as I told Khalil, so he can't take credit for this. That they hacked into like the government systems, such as like GPS and like cameras, street cameras, those pesky things.
Mm-hmm.
They hack into them, and that they have maps of everyone who I think it is everyone who listened to Carmelo John's rally cry against the NFFA.
When you say that, it actually made quite a bit of sense because they were targeting, like, why wouldn't they just target a specific block and just bomb that block instead of going around? Because they can take down like the buildings and everything and just wipe out that block if they really wanted to kill like thousands of people easily.
But class 4.
Yeah, but still, like, they were running around with Gatling guns.
And I really don't think, unless a nuke got brought out to the streets, that the government would say, when they say, you will be prosecuted. I'm like, dude, you're not doing anything.
Yeah, like, I don't know, but it was interesting because that, I like your theory there because I think it's very possible that that's what's going on. They're trying to essentially suppress the political kind of upheaval that might come with this purge. So I like that idea because it's literally then an authoritarian regime going around and killing people that don't agree with them. But so essentially, Frank eventually at the end, and I'm skipping a bit here. We'll go back to it. But at the end, he gets to the house where he wants to kill this guy. But because he's created an attachment with this family, Eva and Callie, and they've told him like, you don't have to kill, like you don't have to purge. It's not going to help you. It's just going to make it harder for you in the long run, and you're going to have to live with that. And so he goes in and literally like holds this man with a knife to his face.
I thought he was going to stab him.
I didn't. I didn't think he was going to kill him. Because he walks out though and he has blood all over him, like new blood. So I'm like, oh shit, he did
kill. That's what I thought. Why he killed him.
But then the Tommy Lee knockoff that they got shot him.
I don't know if that looked too much like Tommy Lee Jones.
It's not. But essentially the main guy from the government shoots Frank because he's like, you're not supposed to save people. And Frank is revealed to be a sergeant. Like, he used to work in the military.
Well, no wonder. He's a badass.
Yeah, he knows how to shoot.
Besides the fact that he, like, killed everyone who tried to stop him.
That's what we were saying. Like, you were saying he's, like, a sniper or something.
No, so. I just thought that. I don't know why
but it makes sense.
But he's definitely ex-military. It confirms it. And also, if you do the Google search of the movie, it says, like...
It says he's a sergeant. Yeah, that's true. But
and his name's Leon.
Is it?
I Googled it.
Oh, it is Leon?
Yeah, I'll show you right here.
No, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so his name's Leon because he's also in the other.
I didn't think I heard.
No, sorry, Leo.
He's
also in the other Purge.
No spoilers.
He's in Purge election. It came out in 2016.
Yeah, but
he's in Purge election year.
Yeah, but okay, interesting.
So now we know he doesn't die at the end of the movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was about to say, but
yeah.
So essentially, he shoots him, on the left side of his body, and then the guy who he doesn't kill, comes out and shoots.
He saves him.
Yeah, he saves him. He shoots Tommy in the head. And so, yeah.
And Frank shot that dude earlier in the cheek. We thought he was dead.
Yeah.
So anyway, as they're going around and round killing people.
Yeah.
Who they think could possibly be, new Carmelo Johns and Gross.
Or just killing random people. Yeah. But I like your theory.
Yeah, no, but you see Frank just like turn the corner and pop him in the head, and it does look like he does kill him.
Yeah, I thought he wiped them all out, but yeah, so essentially I think it's quite interesting because it kind of shows that um, he essentially was like kind of, if we have to kill people, we will, kind of mentality. And then when they came into his house, he was willing to basically do anything to save his family. This guy obviously, he doesn't have his family anymore. His wife left him. His son died to this guy. But it seems like there's that shift of like we want to save as many people as possible, where it's like from him as the citizen, like the lower, like maybe middle class kind of citizen mentality is like, yeah, we'll help each other out. Like I'm gonna save you because it's the right thing to do morally. But
and you can see that development from the beginning. He gets in his armored car and he's out on the streets, and you see him. He hesitates. I love good character twists, like them growing as a character, whether it's through the series of a show or through the course of a movie. It does show personal growth in the sense that he's blinded by rage and that his son's pretty much got ran over. And it'd be different if the guy who killed him, went to jail. But you see the growth of him. He had multiple opportunities to leave him, especially the first one. He didn't even know them, but he could have left them in the train tunnel when the mom freaked out and just stopped running, which would never happen because human instinct is to run from danger.
We talked about this at the time.
Towards the end, where he could have stabbed the guy. He had the guy gonna kill him. He could have killed him. There's nothing stopping him. But I think Callie, even though as annoying as I felt she was, I think she was like the good moral reasoning that he needed to hear, because sometimes you're just so blinded with rage of getting revenge that you forget that, like, if you kill him, your son's still dead.
Yeah.
You get nothing out of it besides maybe you have satisfaction while killing him. But it just was insane that he didn't kill him, because we all thought like Khalil mentioned, he walks out with blood on him.
Yeah, afterwards I'm like, oh wow, he actually did kill him, because at the moment, because I thought about that too, where it's like, well, the somewhat like thing would be here is like he's not gonna actually kill him, but they don't show it. There's a yelling and then he walks out, so I'm like, okay, he killed him. But anyway, that's one of the things where I think it's interesting as you go on and you so the other couple here, so we talked about Eva and Callie and Leo was his name, the main character, Frank Grillo.
Yeah
Leo. But so there's this other couple named Shane and Liz who are also with these guys in the
middle class.
Yeah. So like presumably in the middle class, and this is the couple that was like they were gonna separate, and essentially
sad ending.
Yeah, but with these guys, yeah, but it's essentially they're driving around in the beginning. They got the groceries. These guys kind of run into them, and what we find out is that these guys were cut their what was it, power steering functions?
Yeah, they cut the power steering fluid lines, so then it dripped out all the all the fluid that they need. And it's basically, as we learned, we thought that they were just like marauders, right? Because they did kind of give off that.
Yeah, well, like I'm like, okay, so they're purging, but they're just kind of wandering around.
And they're toying with them, but really, again, on the theme of that, it's that I think that they're trying to display, whether it's correct or not, is that the rich love the purge because it gives them a sense of like they can use their money and they can like make sure there's no redistribution of wealth
and can cleanse their souls.
And they can cleanse their souls. Yeah. It's BS that the NFFA came up with.
Yeah.
And so then it's discovered that they just are doing it for the money, which I think also shows that like even the lower class are so enamored and hold the upper class in such a higher standing that they were willing to do everything, including selling out their own, which is like kind of like anti-strength in numbers,
Yeah.
They're willing to sell them out for like that wad of cash was not okay. So they give them just a singular wad of cash, and if you've ever seen Breaking Bad and all the big wads of cash,
it's at least a couple thousand probably.
That's not. I bet you that was maybe $1,000. In the grand scheme, I think you captured the dude who killed half your force trying to get them. I think those people should have given more money, but it just shows them that they're selling them out for nothing.
So to your point, I feel like this is somewhat of another, political conversation or economic conversation where it kind of gets into a more populist angle of like of these guys kind of they're so the upper class keeps them so constrained and so down, for lack of a better word, economically, socially, and like all of this, that they're essentially forced to be the subservience to these upper class people to get any money whatsoever. And so what do they have to do? They have to essentially turn on each other instead of, and this is what was his name? What was the anti guy's name?
Leo.
No, the anti-NFFA guy. What was his name?
Oh, Carmelo Johns.
Yeah. So I think what he's saying is that instead of turning on each other like we have been for the past 6 purges and selling out each other and killing each other for the elite, we need to group up together and take on the elite together.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a very populist message because you're essentially turning it from the elite stratifying you into different groups opposing each other, and so all of you are connecting together to actually take on who is the villain in the story, really, which is the NFFA and the elite class paying for this.
Speaking of populism, it's normally a higher group using the lower group to say we're going to fight against the higher group, but really there's no rich people saying, hey, like, I presume that Carmelo Johns is not a rich man in the sense that he's not using, So me and Khalil are both political science majors, and we took a lot of the same classes together in college. And so when we learned about populism, and he'll get this, that like it's one group, the upper group, telling the lower group that they're going to protect them. Now, obviously, there's different types of populism with ideological standings, but I like where he's trying to go with the populism message, but I just don't see it. I just think it's more of a money versus no money, and that like
well, really what it is, for your point, maybe it's not because the type of populism I'm thinking of is like left-wing populism, but what it might be even more than that is legitimately communism, because the idea of communism, if you read like the Communist Manifesto with like Karl Marx, is like he's essentially proposing that everything that the elite do, everything they tell you to do and everything is about money. It's about the economy, and they want to control that money.
We're not communists. We want
no. But this is legitimately what Yeah, so essentially what he says in the video when we're first introduced to this idea is that what is the purge really about? Money. He says it outright. And that is actually a communist viewpoint where it's like everything is about money. And I do agree with him in this scenario once they kind of explain it more, because they are trying to essentially... So the idea here is that the purge saves... it essentially saves the money for the people, for the government, instead of them having to waste it on like social services, basically.
Yeah, and also like, well, that's what the kind of the poor people have kind of deduced, but like the rich people also say that like this gets out aggression, so there's no high crime rate, which I think they kind of abandoned from the first movie.
Well, I don't think they necessarily abandon it. I think it's 2 different viewpoints of what the purge is really about.
Yeah, that's what they're telling the people, the masses, like, hey, this is so we can, if the crime rate's low, then inflation might slow down.
Yeah.
But, it's pretty obvious. Yeah. It's the haves and haves not. Told throughout history, just in a new angle, which I think these people who came up with this original idea, hopefully it never happens, but I think for a movie series, I think it's great.
Yeah, it's very, the people that made this are very smart, and the director here was James DeMonaco. He's also the writer for this specific movie is James DeMonaco, and that's kind of the sense I got what he was trying to go with, just because this movie definitely has more blatant political views. There's not too much racial views in this one, but definitely like political and social stratification views. But yeah, with this specific one, there's not as much like racial undertones as I think the first one had.
I think there were still some.
There was some, but I think the first one was very blatant.
Look at the dad. Okay, so like, Callie's grandpa and Eva's dad
True.
sacrifices himself, right?
Yeah.
So why did they pay him $100,000?
I mean, because I think that's more of an economic message of like the lower class and the rich paying you.
Yeah. But as we saw, even in the first movie, throughout, maybe just not in this movie, there isn't. But I do think that the Purge, the new founding fathers, I'm sure have some racial grievances that they. I mean, for the whole time in the first movie, the polite stranger, as we know, is the creepy guy.
He calls him swine.
He keeps calling him swine.
Yeah, which is there's racial undertones to that first movie. But it will be interesting. I mean, obviously we reviewed the first one. Go check that one out. But this one, like and subscribe. But this one, which is the Purge Anarchy, so the 2014 one. I think so. As we're talking about this, I'm almost thinking like, do you think this one, and this is one of the final questions that I was with, like, do you think that this one would have been worse if the first one didn't come first? Because you're seeing, like you said, two different viewpoints. You have the rich in the first, and then this one just the normal people. Do you think it would have been the same, which we both thought it was decent, like good, or do you think it would have been worse without that original?
I think that this is a great second movie. I think it could have been a good standalone movie, but I think, again, with a good story, it has to build, you know?
Yeah, true.
Because, I mean, like, every good show that, like, people have become super ingrained into, we live in America, but, like, people who are listening to this might not be, you know, hopefully, if this ever gets that big for Khalil's sake, and for my sake to keep doing this for the movie reviews.
Yeah.
But, it just becomes so ingrained in, like, pop culture, you know, like the shows that do have the longer storytelling, because like there's so many shows on Netflix or any streaming service that have one season, they go through the story really quick, and it's not that good.
Yeah.
And you just watched it because you only watched it March 2020 because we had literally nothing to do. So, like, I do think that this series is a great storytelling. Now, do I think that this movie's better than the first one? Yes. But to answer your question, I do think that the first one is a great beginning.
It's a great starting point.
Because that one's just a microcosm of a singular family. And it kind of does throw some tidbits about, like, the Purge and, like, the dad's, like, oh, crime was really bad. And they do have the intro scene where it's, like, it's March 21st. You know, the annual Purge is set to begin. And they give you a little bit of history. I think that I've seen Election Year, but I'm not going to say anything. Just they do build off more of this, and hopefully the first Purge is as good, and for Khalil's sake, Election Year, if it's good, and hopefully this new one, because...
But yeah, so I think, I agree with you. I think this one is, for me, it was better than the first one. The acting, yeah, I was about to say, the acting is a lot better in my opinion, even though the first one had Lena Headey, who's an established actor, or actress, I mean, I think this one just kind of blows the acting out of the other one, just out of the water. It's still, like, not great at some points, but it is still really good acting for this movie.
I thought overall, like, even, like, okay, for instance, obviously Frank Grillo, Khalil knows, love the man, a great actor. Yeah. But just, like, even, like, the other main characters, yeah, none of them were big name.
No.
But they still, I think, took the time to find actors, whereas maybe with the first Purge, they said, okay, we need to get this up and running.
It was also a $3 million budget, so they didn't have... Like, there was a couple bigger names in there, but there really wasn't that many.
This is going to sound a little bit stupid, but does budget include the acting contracts?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, damn. They packed in his contract for $9 million?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This was 2014. I mean, he was still big, but...
I know, but you think he'd maybe get $1 million.
Yeah, and so real quick, so just to go down the cast, just as Steven was saying, it's not like big name actors. Like, the one that played Eva, his name's Carmen Ejago? I don't know. You have Zach Gilford, who played Shane. Kylie Sanchez is Liz. You have Michael Bay, to be fair, who's the producer. But yeah, so there's not really big names besides Frank Grillo. So, I mean, I assume since he was also the lead, his contract took up most of it. But yeah, I think the only other thing is, like, the first one kind of gives you that insight of, like, because it gives you the insight of what the richer, I guess, are thinking and, like, why they follow the Purge and everything like that, or what's been propagandized to them about the Purge. There's a point, so these dudes who cut the fluid brakes on Sean and Liz's car eventually kidnap them and take them to this auction where rich people say like, yeah, I'm going to spend this money to then hunt them in this little ring. And these are obviously the affluent, the richer people who are doing these purge parties.
upper class. It's almost like
they spent $200,000 to try to kill them.
Yeah, for all the listeners out there, if you had to read A Most Dangerous Game in high school, it's almost like that type of hunting.
But
or if you've seen Community, where Pierce figures out that the lawyers have like an island where they can hunt people. So it's basically like they can go hunt people.
Yeah, so that's legitimately what this is. It's your chance to purge. Frank Grillo, obviously, you don't want to mess with that man because he took out 5 of the 7 of them.
Why would you?
I don't understand his concept, but it's
he's
such a weird,
tough-looking dude.
It's not even about him looking tough. It's like,
he killed half your force.
True. But why would you pay $200,000 to go with a gun and night vision goggles to? You don't know what these people's backgrounds are. Like, they could be like Frank Grillo,
dude,
like,
or they could just be like insanely like ninja-like and kill you. And so like
it only takes one punch to the face and
the one affluent guy, one of the dudes. So there's 7 people that go in, and one of them is an older gentleman who purchases it and then pays an extra $200,000, so $400,000 for his 2 sons. I'm like, what if let's say they kill all the people, but one of the sons doesn't make it out. Was it worth it?
Yeah, that's my thought too.
Was that pleasure really worth it?
It's not even pleasure, bro. Like, it's a sense of euphoria for a second, I guess. But it's like, you're, like, what are you doing? Like, one of your sons is dead now.
Yeah, or like if like the one man who brought his wife in, what if she had died? I know he's probably rich enough to buy off another person.
Didn't she kill him? But I don't know. Anyway, I agree with you. I think it's a really stupid concept, like that specifically for the rich people.
I mean, it's a great movie.
No. I think in the movie it makes a lot of sense because it shows where these richer people are at and the disconnection they have from actual society, much like our own society in the real world. But it's I don't think we're at Purge level yet, my man. No. That's not what I'm saying. But you know what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying.
But yeah, I don't know do you have anything else to touch on? I think I've touched on a lot of stuff I wanted to.
I mean, I'm excited. We're gonna keep it.
I'm excited for election
with Purge week, as Khalil called it. But I'm pretty excited for the next couple of installments. I'm really excited to go see the actual movie.
Yeah,
because
the Purge.
Me and Khalil, the last time we saw a movie in theaters was December 2019, and we watched the movie 1917. So I'm pretty excited about that.
It's a good movie.
So it's a great movie, but I didn't.
Good point to lit.
But like, if someone said, "Hey, you can only watch one more movie before a virus comes and kills a lot of people,"
watch Dodgeball.
Then I would have watched Dodgeball. Yeah, or The Purge.
Yeah, or The Purge. But yeah.
Great movie, great acting. Really, just overall great movie. We ranked the other one. So Khalil, what do you give this ranking?
So I don't. Yeah.
Not thinking about the other movie, just this movie.
Kind of have to think about it because I ranked that one at a 6, I think.
Okay, but now what do you give this?
I mean, I would rank that one lower now. This is the issue with I would rank it. This movie, I would give it a 7 to be honest overall.
7?
6.5 really. Like
whoa!
I'm comparing it to other movies though, like this versus like Avengers Endgame. Which one do I?
It's a different.
But that's what I'm ranking it on. It's like I know it's a different series, but if I was ranking it against the other movie, this would be like an 8.
True. I think at the end of the movie series, we should write down our original scores.
Yeah,
and
probably.
read them to each other, and then see how they change now that we've seen every single movie.
Yeah, I think just the rankings is what we should do.
So I'm just gonna say my ranking before I get cut off really quick. I would give it 8.2 because I thought it was just really great storytelling. They really, as we talked, you gotta really read into like the political stuff or like the social like understanding of like the Purge and the Purge itself and the concept.
Yeah.
And I love that, and I just think also the gun scenes, there's enough action compared to the first one where there's like minimal at best.
Yeah, and I liked that they went into the lore a little bit behind what the Purge is and like gave us a little time frame, which I think the time frame's a little crazy for people to be indoctrinated that fast, but maybe. I mean, but
we've seen throughout history people document
in like a year. That's true. Yeah.
Within that time span, or even a little bit more.
Definitely.
But I guess that's it for today. So keep with us this Purge week. I like that idea. We call this Purge week. Yeah. And Khalil.
Have a good one, guys.
Good night.
Happy hunting.